Hey guys, welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Nintendaan and John from the YouTube channel NomComms to discuss everything about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So let's get started. Alright guys, we've been playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for, I think, about a week now. I don't know, I've lost all track of time. I've been playing this game way too much. Which is saying something, because I already put hundreds of hours into the original game. But I've been playing some of that time with you guys as well, in battle mode and in races. So I thought it'd be fun to get everyone together and, just talk about our impressions so far, including our own reviews, because we've all reviewed it, including you, Don. Yours just went up today, I think, right?
Yep, it did, yeah. Because it was in the second opinion piece, so we kind of want to wait until news review kind of settled down for a little bit.
Alright, yeah, that makes sense. So let's go ahead and, I guess, jump right into it. John, what were your impressions, or what did you say in your review, basically?
I was pretty much overwhelmed with how much I enjoyed this game. I gave it a perfect 10, and I wasn't entirely sure if that was warranted or not, but even though there are some issues with the character roster, and maybe some issues with some repeated themes in the battle tracks compared to the race tracks, I still thought the fun was just brilliant. Honestly, I couldn't stop enjoying myself, just kept smiling in every race.
It is hard not to have fun with this, right? Like, no matter what you're doing, it's generally fun. Don, do you agree with that?
Oh, I totally do. I took more issue with the game. As we might remember from 2015, I gave it a more controversial score than I would like.
Oh yeah?
We're not gonna discuss... Well, we were in that discussion back then in 2015, originally.
I'm trying to remember. What did you say back then?
I gave it a 7.5 back then.
Oh wow! Harsh! Man!
Yeah.
That is interesting though, because a lot of the original vanilla Mario Kart 8 reviews did dock points for the really disappointing battle mode. And I think this time around, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe just completely tackles that.
It's not only that though, I took a lot more things in consideration back then, like I thought that some of the stuff, like regarding to single players, is disappointing, and that's actually more disappointing now. But I want to say that the sheer fondness I have for the battle mode raised my spirits by a whole bunch, and my end score is now like an 8.5, and I still feel very strongly about it, mostly because I feel that single player again is more disappointing this time around, because there's literally no point to going to the Grand Prix outside of getting Gold Mario, and there's nothing...
Apparently, Don, you haven't unlocked all the new title screens yet. They're super exciting.
It's not really exciting. But my point really is, I come from a time, especially from the Wii and DS era, where there was like missions or a mission mode that was way more dedicated and interesting. And I feel that they dedicated their resources more to the multiplayer, which is totally okay in my book. At the same time, especially since this is a handheld game now, if I want to play this with friends online or something more intricate, and I can be able to do that, there's nothing really for me to do in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I agree with you, yeah.
Yeah, the series does kind of have like a bell curve when it comes to the single player content. It peaked with like DS and then maybe the Wii, but they had the mission structure still a little bit there. And then it's just dropped off again, where there's very little single player content. I guess for me though, I mean, I would love to have a more elaborate single-player adventure. Like, I would love for that, and that's something we'll probably be discussing later, like what we want in the next Mario Kart. But, you know, I also love playing online, and this game, pretty much nails that across the board, whether it comes to racing or now even battle mode. So, and we've been doing a lot of online racing ourselves. Like, we have our own groups now. Like, we try to synchronize times with. And it's just a blast. So I guess, speaking of blast, let's just go hop right into, I guess, our impressions of the new battle mode. But that's the biggest change here. Battle mode basically sucked in Mario Kart 8, where they just reused existing tracks, which were not optimized at all for battle.
Some people might even say, was there even a battle mode there?
It was easy to forget about, because whoever played it? Like, I played a little bit for the review, and I'll admit, I actually had a small amount of fun at times, but then I realized I never wanted to go back to it. Like, all the fun I had was kind of like goofy, circumstantial stuff. Whereas here in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it is a pretty consistent, I'm having a really damn good time. And it's interesting because the very core of the game, at least in terms of battle mode, is basically the same as it was in Mario Kart 8. It largely comes down to the arenas. Like, these arenas were built for battle mode, and thank God, because you need arenas built for battle mode for it to be fun, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think especially the tracks they've chosen and the tracks they've adapted, for example, from racetracks to battle arenas, like the Sweet Sweet Kingdom and the Dragon one. They've made very clear intentions to make it feel and make it breathe like a battle map, and especially in the various arrays of height and how you tackle certain elements or how you hide yourself from opponents, it seems very well built.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Don. I think maybe if there's a nitpick I have there, though, is maybe just a few too many of the battle tracks reuse their templates from the racetracks. Like, Dragon Palace is pretty much Dragon Driftway, Sweet Sweet Canyon is Sweet Sweet Kingdom, Lunar Colony is very similar to Rainbow Road. And it just feels like maybe there aren't enough original designs going on there.
They were being very economical with how they produced the battle mode, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I feel that the battle maps they've produced are not bad in the slightest. I don't think there's a dud in there exactly.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I'm actually gonna disagree with that. I think most of them are really good, and I actually think also depends a little bit on the mode you play. I think some maps are better produced for certain modes than others. The one map I consistently don't like, though, for the most part, is Battle Stadium. I feel like that one's too hard to get around. Like, if you're on that central area, it takes forever, or rather, if someone's on that central area, like the anti-gravity section, it takes forever to get there if you're anywhere else on the stage. Whereas that person has the opportunity to drop back onto the main stage. So I don't know, I find that one to be a little bit annoying to get around.
I have noticed some Shine Thief matches end very quickly on that arena there.
Right, you know, I don't know if you noticed, I've totally I won one of those matches on that stage, but I totally cheesed it. I just grabbed the shine, then I kept doing drifts around that central structure in the anti-gravity area, and no one could figure out like how to shoot me, but I was just drifting around it.
Yeah, I think that specific map is only like really good for like 2 modes. Like Balloon Battle is actually really fun on there, and I think that Bob-Omb Blast can be really good. But the other 3, especially Shrine Thief, are not really made for that map. That is one that they should have accommodated at least a bit more for, or make it a bit smaller on the outer edges, because it is indeed a little bit unwieldy to get around. At the same time, I think that the best battle maps in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe also have various heights, and that's something that naturally that map doesn't really have. It's
kind of true, and you're right. I think having that multi-layer design is, that is kind of important for battle mode in general. However, I think one of my favorite maps has no real elevation changes at all, and that is Battle Course 1 from the original Super Mario Kart.
Oh, wow.
I still love that course. I loved it in the original game. I think it works well here, and I think it works well in every mode. Like whether it's Shine Thief or Bob-Omb Blast. Like, I love the fact that, it has those walls in the way, but you can still attack people over the walls by chucking weapons over them, like bananas or bombs or whatever. Like, I just love the opportunity that having such a simple arena allows for.
But yeah, that map is also really close quarters in comparison to Battle Stadium.
Yeah, oh, that's true, for sure. Battle Stadium feels like a really big map.
Yeah, and I feel that when you're playing with 12 players, again, it's good for Balloon Battle and what have you. For the other 3 modes where it really relies on close encounters, especially a mode like Shine Thief. I don't really think it's quite suited there.
I have noticed Battle Stadium's one of the only ones that uses the anti-grav mechanic. Though I guess you can't really put that into like Woohoo Town, can you? But,
I mean, there is that, and then also Lunar Colony. But yeah, you're right.
That's true.
Anti-gravity isn't used too much in these, so... nor is underwater. I don't think there's a single water sequence.
No.
Yeah. Which I'm okay with, honestly,
yeah,
but...
The SNES one has the glider, but yeah, no underwater.
Yeah, actually, that's another good point. There's no flying either, except in the Super Nintendo one, and that's too bad. Because I actually really like flying in that one. That is a great way to escape someone, chasing after you at the shine, for instance, or whatever.
And you were saying that map had no layers.
You're right. I was totally mistaken. I mean, you're kind of making your own layers at that point, though, aren't you?
Yeah, it's still a layer that you can escape from.
Yeah. Like, I like that. Like, because you can't even fly that long. Like, you're in the air for maybe 3 or 4 seconds at most. So what do you guys think of the array of modes we have here? Because I think we have the most battle modes in any Mario Kart ever, being Balloon Battle, Bob-Omb Blast, Shine Thief, Coin Runners, and Renegade Roundup, the last of which is completely new. Although I do want to note that 3 of those were also in Double Dash. Again, confirming that game is the best Mario Kart ever made.
Most of them. I think Bob-Omb Blast can sometimes be a bit too chaotic.
Just a bit.
I also think Renegade Roundup is very interesting too. It's not like anything else that's been in Mario Kart before. As in, a lot of Mario Kart stages are very just sort of attacking each other, whereas this is very team-based. It's like cops and robbers almost.
It totally is, yeah. I mean, it even tells you to avoid the law if you're the Renegade.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like.
Though there can be issues, like sometimes matches last maybe 10 seconds, other times they can last up to like 5 minutes. My favourite matches are the ones that just have even balances where both teams have their highs and lows, but sometimes it can be a bit too instant.
Yeah, like, I think there was one Shine Thief we played in where someone won, like, getting it immediately, and they just held
I think
on
that
to
was
it for
you.
20 seconds. Oh, was it? Oh, well, speak of the devil. But yeah, I mean, I actually do wish there were a few more options here at times. Like, I wish you could adjust how long you need to hold the Shine for instance. Because I think some of these modes work with different amount of players, I find. Like, I think Bob-Omb Blast can be complete chaos with 12 people, which I think is fun too. But I think it actually works a little bit better with a smaller amount of players, so it's not quite as insane, and there's some strategy to what you're doing. Whereas others, like Shine Thief, I posted the match. I think a bunch of us posted the match that we had. I think there were 11 of us in the Splatoon arena playing Shine Thief, and that is some of the most chaotic fun I've ever had. Like, that was insane. Like, there is something kind of magical about seeing, like, this horde of racers, like, all turn at the same time to chase after the same guy.
You know what you should do? You should look up Andre and my video and just put them in a screen next to one another, line them up, and see how different our matches actually were, because they're both insane.
It is
Andre
really
missed
fun.
Andre missed an entire part. We were both up the upper railing, and we switched shines like 7 times in a row. And you can see the prompts on Andre's screen, but when you see it happening in motion, you're like, oh god, what is going on? Please stop. Oh no.
It was a top 10 Mario Kart match for sure.
It had
I think
to
what's
be.
quite interesting too is Mario Kart Double Dash only had 8 players, so now we have 12 players playing Shine Thief.
Right.
Which is quite it mixes things up quite a lot, far more chaotic than usual.
Oh, it's insane. Like, you don't know. Yeah, I feel like at the start of every match, I have no idea what's going to happen at all. Like, I have no clue.
I will be honest, I didn't really like enjoy Shine FIFA all that much in the GameCube version. Maybe it was. I think the thing was missing was more players and chaos, and that's exactly what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe created.
I would agree with that. Like, as much as I love Double Dash, and I think in hindsight it has one of the better battle modes compared to the recent ones at least. But I didn't care for the battle mode that much at the time. For whatever reason, I never got into it. Like, I thought Mario Kart 64 was better. So I think having like the online component and the amount of players really is key, or part of it, to reinvigorating battle mode. Like, I think this is the best battle mode it has been in probably, well, I guess, at least 10 years. Probably since 64, in my opinion.
I mean, for all the gushing we did about the one in Urchin Underpass, I think the second favorite match with Shine Thief was the one in Woohoo Town, where everybody was abusing the smaller streets to get across and hold the shine as long as possible. And I think those moments there are where you just smile from ear to ear and just have a great time with the battle mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yeah, Woohoo Town really is perfect for Shine Thief.
Oh, absolutely. Especially the smaller street. That's
Yep.
great. Also, Renegade Roundup is really good in there. Every single mode in battle mode is something small that I adore about like Mario Kart 8 battles in general. And having them all together in one package is sort of awesome.
I mean, that's it right there, basically. I said in my review, basically, I forget how it worded exactly, but what I really appreciate about the battle mode here is the diversity. The fact that, like, every time we've been playing, we set it up so you get a random type of battle each time you play. So you're not doing 5 balloon battles back to back. You're doing a balloon battle, you're doing a Renegade Roundup, you got a Shine Thief in there, followed by Bob-Omb Blast. Like, it feels different every time, and it's on a different arena as well. I think there's like 40 different combinations you can play, basically. And I love that, because it really does feel different. Like, it makes it feel like you're never doing the same thing.
If you didn't play Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, there is so much here now. So you have all those battle modes, you have, was it 48 tracks now?
Yep.
Oh, it's just so much there.
It is an insane amount of content. It is like, I mean, I'm kind of jealous of people who didn't play Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, because you're getting so much stuff. You're getting all the DLC, you're getting more characters, you have the battle mode. Like, it's going to take a long time to get sick of this game.
Yeah, I think that's sort of my problem. If I had this from the get-go, maybe this would have made me way more than an impact, and maybe the single-player stuff wouldn't have been a slight bummer there. Like, for a newcomer, it sounds like almost too perfect to be true.
It really is. I mean, the newcomers really have it great. If you're returning, that's where I can see it being a little bit less appealing. I still absolutely recommend it in my review. I was actually surprised by how much I did not mind racing on the same racetracks. Don't get me wrong, I want more. I wish they added more cups. With that said, I've had a great time going back playing on those same exact tracks online again. And I found, and I guess this is a good time to talk about the minor differences they've made to the game, in that they've now introduced the ability to hold 2 items, including the return of the double item boxes from Double Dash. You can actually get both items at once. And then they've also added a new item as well, being the Boo. They also added the Feather, which only appears in multiplayer. But the Boo comes back, so that makes you invulnerable, while also stealing the item, typically from first place it seems, but I don't know if that's always the case. Yeah, so what do you guys think of the core racing with those small tweaks now?
I find more items means more blue shells. I had this one experience where I was in first place, and I had the super horn, and there was a blue shell coming right towards me, and I was just about to press it when all of a sudden a boo appeared and took my horn away.
What a dick!
I know!
Man!
Yes, I do find having more items does make more chaos. So you'll definitely be hit by far more things, but you also have more items to defend yourself with too.
I'm not really exactly... So in original Mario Kart 8 I wasn't exactly a fan of the item balance. I think that double items makes it a little bit better in my book, because you can hold an item you like and then use a different item altogether, or quickly use the boomerang and the first item will slot to the first slot and the boomerang will go back in the second slot. So there's more variables possible with that double item system.
I actually agree. I also had some issues with the frequency of certain items in the original Mario Kart 8. I mentioned that in my review. Being in first place was sometimes I don't know, frustrating or maybe boring, because you often only got coins, and there's nothing to do with them. Like, you had no options but keep racing well. Now, to be fair, that's still kind of the case in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well. However, that makes the double item box even more important, because I found they almost never give you double coins. Instead, they almost give you at least one item to defend yourself with, which is really interesting because it kind of changes the metagame a little bit, in that it actually affects the routes you want to take. So when I'm at first now, I want to go for those double item boxes, and those are often only found at alternate paths that are slower than the main path. So then there's a risk versus reward type thing. It's like, do I want to stick to the main path, which is faster but I'm vulnerable, or do I want to go off the beaten path a little bit, get a double item box so I can actually protect myself? And I actually like that. I think that actually does change the game for the better, if not to a huge degree. I think it does actually, switch it up a little bit.
Yeah, and if you're still not totally on board with how the item balance is, you know what? Just put it on frantic mode.
Which, by the way, I think is essential for battle. I love frantic in battle. I think that is so fun. Although it pisses me off in races.
I like being a dick to people, so frantic mode all the way in every single mode possible.
Oh my god.
Maybe the biggest new addition, though, is that extra frame per second. They fixed the 59 FPS bug.
I posted a video about this yesterday, and a lot of people were like, dude, you're making a big deal out of nothing, and I wasn't trying to make it a big deal. It didn't bother me that much in the original game, but once he noticed it, you can't unsee it. Like, I can always see that slight judder every second, and so the fact that they fixed it is, like, so nice, because it really does feel smoother.
I wish no one told me about that, because I had no idea until someone mentioned it, and then it's just there.
That is exactly it. I didn't notice either at all till I don't know, maybe it was a Digital Foundry video or something. Some video back in the day pointed it out, and I'm like, my god, I cannot ever unsee that now. And I actually apologize to people in my video I did yesterday, where I'm like, hey, I apologize in advance if I ruined Mario Kart 8 for you, because this might just do it. Have you guys been playing around with the new characters or the new carts much? Like, what are your thoughts on the slightly bigger roster and cart selection?
I'm pleasantly surprised at how well the Inklings fit in. Going into this, I thought they were so out of place, but then when you play with them, it's just like, oh, there. There's nothing really to them. They're just kind of in Mario Kart.
I love using the Inklings. So I will still stick to my usual Baby Luigi combo. That's something I've carried since the DS era onto the Wii era onto the Wii U era, now the Switch era, and I will keep carrying the torch because I like using that character with the Falcon card, or what is it, the Blue Falcon. I've been kind of like dabbling in bikes a little bit because I never really touched them in the original Mario Kart 8 because I wasn't never very good with them, and I've given them more fair a chance, and maybe it's 2 more years of more experience with Mario Kart, but I find myself that I am having a better time with it. There might be a balance there that's been changed, I don't know, but I've been pleasantly surprised and actually finished the 200cc mode that way with a bike.
Wow, was it an inside drifting bike? Do you know, or?
I think it was an inside drifting bike.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I use. Like well, for whatever reason, I really like how the inside drifting bikes control in this game. But yeah, I agree with you, John. Like, I think the Inklings fit in surprisingly well. Like, they fit right on in there, and I mean, they still stand out, but they don't feel out of place. Now, what's funny is, for me, I don't know if you guys had this, I honestly when I first got the game, I honestly had trouble remembering who the other new characters were. I'm like, all right, we got the Inklings.
Same here.
And then,
Right.
and then King Boo and Bowser Jr. I'm like, wait, weren't they always there? Like, are they actually new? And then even same thing for Dry Bones too.
It's so weird that we still don't have Diddy Kong either.
Right?
Or Funky Kong.
It is kind of weird for as big as this roster is. It still isn't like that great. Like, I don't know. I mean, they have most of it covered, but I feel like they have so many characters here. It almost detracts from the others. Like, we don't need all those babies of metal characters.
Hey Andre,
Yeah,
Pink Gold Peach is still there.
I know.
This being said, Andre, though, your favorite character is Gold Mario.
Okay, hold on. Let's get this out in the open now. I want to make it clear. I'm not proud of using Metal Mario. I'm actually ashamed of it. But it's a character I win with.
But you aren't using Metal Mario, you're using Gold Mario.
Well, if you have it, you gotta flaunt it, right? I mean, of course I'm gonna show off with Metal Mario. Or Gold Metal Mario. I mean, if I'm gonna play a terrible character, I'm gonna go all the way. I'm gonna play the worst version of that character.
I mean, for me, it's mostly sticking to Inklings and the stuff that I already know. Like, it's nice to have more characters, and I'll likely be trying Bowser Jr. a little bit more, maybe Dry Bones. But most for the end of it, I already have the characters that I'm settled on and know how to play with them well.
I appreciate how they've opened up the roster to more Nintendo characters too. So now we have Link, we have the villagers, we have the Inklings. It's becoming almost like a Nintendo Kart than just Mario Kart. Yeah, who else do you want in there? I mean, I've always wanted Kirby ever since I saw, I think it was Rosalina's Smash Bros. Reveal trailer.
Right? I was, you know what? I was one of those people who was actually a little bit disappointed that it was just a Smash Brothers trailer instead of like a new Kirby game or Mario Kart, Kirby crossover.
I mean, put Kirby on a star, and then it's perfect.
Yeah,
yeah.
for
I mean,
sure.
that's Kirby Air Ride right there. So I agree. Like, Kirby is another character that would fit in perfectly with this cast. Like, he would fit right on in. It would be perfect.
And even the amiibo costumes, we have both Sonic and Mega Man are in there.
Yeah, that's true.
But I guess putting Sonic in might be a bit too far. But speaking of amiibo costumes, I think the Inklings one is the only new one, and it's not even really Splatoon themed. It's just kind of a helmet.
Yeah.
I think I liked using the amiibo costumes a lot in the original Mario Kart 8, and I was actually sort of disappointed when I was looking at the Inkling costume. I was like, this could have been a whole lot cooler if they knew what they were doing with it.
Yes.
It's kind of true, but
it's
okay.
I mean, look at Pac-Man. There's in the back of your helmet. There's a CRT screen with Pac-Man in it.
Yeah.
An 8-bit version of Pac-Man. How cool is that?
That is awesome. I mean, he is by far the best one, so it's not even really a fair comparison.
Sure.
There was one. Getting back to battle mode real quick, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Renegade Roundup because that's actually the only truly new battle mode here, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I feel like I might be the odd one out here on it, but I'll hold back. I'll let you guys go first. What do you guys think of Renegade Roundup?
I really like it.
I like it a lot too. I have one issue with the balancing though. Right at the end, half the team gets 0 points.
Yeah.
So one team will just get ranked whatever they got in that game. The other team get nothing. And yeah, that's my major issue with that.
They kind of need to fix that because we've been doing the random battles where like you play 5 battles and then whoever has the most points at the end win. So in that case, you'll get different amount of points for every mode. Like in Shine Thief, I think you get 1 point for every second you hold it.
Yes,
I think?
yes.
And then Coin Runners, you get a point for every coin you have. So you can quickly build up these huge tallies, or maybe not at all. Like if you don't do well.
Yeah, what you're saying is that Renegade Roundup needs a participation award.
It kind of. I mean, I don't know if it needs that. I mean, actually, that would be a good way to do it. Or maybe just drop the amount of points it offers. I feel like 10's a little bit too high. Because you're giving half the people right there an immediate 10-point advantage.
I just think that if you score points, regardless of the team they're on, they should count for your score.
I mean, yeah, I think it should contribute to the score. I think there should still be an overall team victory as well. But
like a 5-point victory plus whatever you make during the battle.
That'd be perfect. I think that would be a really good idea. Yeah, but right now you don't get any points for freeing anyone from jail or for eating anyone as a prom plant. Yeah, so I think they could better balance that, and I hope that they do. But my main issue with Renegade Roundup is I don't have fun as a prom plants. I like being the Renegades. I don't like being the prom plants. I think it's a little bit too fast-paced. I can't really tell what's going on. The map is of almost next to no use. I find that it's almost completely random when I run into someone and eat them.
For me, it's the polar opposite. I like being the cops a lot more. Yeah.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. Or no, I'm sorry. No, yeah. So you like being the prom plants more?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think I'm with you, Andre. I prefer just being the runner.
Right?
I
like being the law and to destroy you all in the battle.
I think my problem with the cops is that they're really, like, especially at first when the jail cells aren't present. There's no method to the madness. You have no. The renegades have no goal but to avoid you. I feel like the renegades are maybe missing something, like a central area to go to. Okay, so basically this is cops and robbers, right? Why aren't the robbers? Why don't they have to go get gold coins or something? Like take it from the prom plant's bank or something, and then go deliver it to their home base.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like it's missing. It's just missing something there.
One thing I think that holds it back a tiny bit for the piranha plants is communication. This is a game where you should really be talking to your teammates, saying exactly where these runners are.
Right.
But obviously the Switch at the moment has no way of doing that.
That's a good point. I think that would help. This is only truly this is the only mode here that requires a team. You cannot play this without teams.
That could be a demonstration at E3. Maybe they want to show the communication capabilities with the app with Renegade Roundup. I'm not sure, but I think it definitely begs to have some form of communication going on.
It is kind of funny how the only true form of communication is for the Renegades when you're in jail and you can honk your horn and it says "Help me" on the map to everyone.
That's true. Yeah. In the original Mario Kart 8 and still in Deluxe as well, honking your horn. I don't think it appears on anyone's screen, but it does still say "help" on the map.
Yeah.
I do think that brings up a good point, regardless of the online capabilities of the Switch, because we don't know what that online service is going to be just yet.
Right.
Which is going to limit like the people amount of free time with this game, because after that they will need to pay for it.
That's true. That's going to affect all their online games. So that, I mean, that's going to frustrate some people for sure. I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Especially if Nintendo actually delivers a competent mobile app that that does a good job, like with matchmaking or meeting up with your friends or providing voice chat. Like if they pull it off well, they can mitigate, I think negative attention. But this is Nintendo, so we'll see.
Yeah, I personally, I think that I saw this on my feed too. That some people are on the fence of buying like a big multiplayer-focused game with its online capabilities if they don't know what the app is going to do just yet. And I think that's a totally valid complaint. At the same time, get as much as free time in as possible, because you will know you want to play this more months down the line.
It's true.
Though one thing, and when it does come to online, this is lacking the YouTube upload, as well as talking in lobbies, which you could do in the Wii U version.
That is true. I'm totally okay with missing the lobby chat because that was horrible.
Yes.
The audio quality was terrible on the Wii U.
Bad, yeah.
And it was like really delayed too for whatever reason. Like it was sent 2 seconds after you said it. But I agree, the lack of YouTube uploading is weird, and definitely, I mean, I never used it, but I just capture my own stuff, as I'm sure we all do. But I know a lot of people use that feature, so it is weird that it's lacking here. But I wonder if it's because Nintendo has said that the OS level of recording is coming to the system, where you can record presumably at any time. So maybe that will take over for that feature.
Maybe then there will be an option to just simply send the replay to your album.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
That'd be nice. That'd be really cool, actually. That'd be a really good idea.
I would love that, yeah, for sure.
So if our theories are right, they might even elaborate more on Deluxe as time goes on when the mobile app releases.
You know, that's a great point. Do you think they will update Mario Kart 8? Do you think they'll add more content like they did with the original version?
It's hard to say if they will. I think that as far as like actual tracks or maps are concerned, I mean, it's a really 50-50 split. If people are enough vocal about it, it's always possible. Like, you can never rule this out completely, because who knew that back after Mario Kart 8 came out that we would get DLC, period, you know?
Right.
At the same time, I would rather see that they will add new features to support like the online components and maybe the replay thing we just talked about. And I think that's a lot more logical than moving their resources to maybe a newer game.
I just think it seems kind of cheeky to re-release a game and then add more to it, like more DLC to it. Because this is the definitive edition of Mario Kart 8.
That's right. That's true. Okay, so here's the thing. Playing this game, having all the DLC there available for everyone, I like that. It kind of sucked in Mario Kart 8 when you wanted to race someone and they didn't have the DLC. Or in my case, for instance, I did the weekly tournaments, where I would stream the tournaments, and I either had to allow people who had the DLC in, or not, or you know, and not allow those who didn't in, or open up to everyone, but then we could only use the non-DLC tracks. So two things. I don't think we're gonna get any more races or any more main race tracks. I think we're done until the next Mario Kart. But I do want more battle modes, I think, or more battle tracks. I think that would be cool. I think they should be free. In fact, I think they should follow the Splatoon model. I think Splatoon nailed it. Just roll out a few, you know, occasional new content that keeps people interested for free, and that way everyone's always on the same page. And I think they could add, like, I don't know, another 4, like, there's room here for another 4 battle courses here on that screen. I think I'd be good with that.
That would be outstanding. And one thing I have an issue with the layout at the moment is there's 3 retro tracks and 5 new ones. I want them to balance that out.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess is Action Underpass technically a retro track? Because they more or less ripped it from Splatoon.
Yeah, and they did have to change it a little bit, of course, to make it work. So
I count it as a new map for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't playable before, I'd agree with that.
I would definitely agree that it might need like more retro tracks. Maybe new ones are okay, maybe we got 5, but maybe a couple of more retro revived ones that they already have a layout in mind.
Block Fort! Where's Block Fort?
People are very vocal about Block Fort.
As they should be! It's like, it's a one map you think of when you think of battle mode. You know, maybe besides maybe the SNES ones. Like, how many of us grew up playing on that Block Fort constantly?
I mean, was it in Mario Kart Wii as well? I feel like it was.
I think it was.
I think it's the one I played the most on the Wii version, so likely, yeah. So if they would just like remake that one, like there was a perfect remake on Wii there, and release it for free, I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of older players are coming back to Nintendo with the Switch, and Block Fort just seems like the most nostalgic track you can put in there to grab them back.
You're absolutely right. The hype would be through the roof. Oh man, that would
think about how people reacted to N64 Rainbow Road. It would be a very similar reaction to that.
You're absolutely right. I loved what they did with Rainbow Road, by the way, when they brought that back. Like, I'm like, this looks gorgeous, except for it only being 1 lap. It should be at least 2 laps.
It was very long though in the original. It was very long.
Now it's the shortest course in the game.
Especially if you race it on 200cc.
That's true.
Yeah. Oh, it's like 5 seconds long. All right. Before we wrap it up here, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what you think they should do for Mario Kart next. What do you think is down the line? Do you think they'll keep... I guess it kind of ties back into the previous question a little bit. But do you think they'll potentially support this as their main Mario Kart going forward? Like, treat Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as a platform? Do you think we'll get a brand new Mario Kart? And what do you want from that, if that's the case?
So we've never had more than 1 Mario Kart per system. And I think this is an opportunity to make a daring Mario Kart. Like, before this discussion, Andre, you're saying maybe do something along the lines of Diddy Kong Racing. And I'd be so up for that.
God, I would kill for that. Yeah, so real quick, before we were recording, I suggested they should make Super Mario Kart World. Basically, it's Diddy Kong Racing with Mario Kart. You have a full world you can explore, you can drive around. Maybe the racetracks are actually in that world, so you actually drive racetrack to racetrack. There'd be different missions in it. So for instance, Bowser's Castle wouldn't just be a racetrack. It would be where you actually have to race up, like, I don't know, Bowser Mountain or something. You know, avoiding hazards to get to Bowser's Castle, where you then have a battle against Bowser in a race or something. Just like, you know, like Diddy Kong Racing. Like, I want a fleshed out adventure mode in Mario Kart. It seems so weird to me that we haven't had that yet, whereas we had in Diddy Kong Racing, whereas Mario is perfectly suited for it. Like, this is what he does.
And it's not like they have tried different stuff with the Mario Kart mechanics. Look at the mission mode of Mario Kart DS. They had boss battles in
You're
that
right.
thing.
They did. You're absolutely right, and that worked. That was fun. A lot of people still think back fondly on Mario Kart DS because of those missions.
And I think that at the very least, even if they're not gonna do like the adventure mode, which I would be totally behind, at least bring back mission mode. Please do that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I had fun with it. I agree. Like that'd be a good addition to have. But at this point, I kind of want them to go all out. Like a mission mode would be nice. I want something grander. I want a full adventure. I want a story. Give me like a story.
Yeah,
like,
but
do you remember those awesome cutscenes from the Mario Sports games on the GameCube? I want something like that in my Mario Kart game, right?
at the same time, we also need to be realistic that this is Nintendo and they're likely gonna stick to the formula.
I'm not so sure. I don't think they want to split the communities though, because we have all these players on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then there'll be another bunch on Mario Kart 9. Would they want to have two very similar entries on the same platform?
It's hard to say. I mean, honestly, they have not really changed it up since Double Dash.
No, oh yeah, right. I'd say the DS one is a template moving forward that all the ones follow, basically.
Yeah.
So I guess real quick, do you guys both agree do you both think there will be another Mario Kart on the Switch?
If there is, I don't think it will be similar to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
I think eventually that's totally possible. I know that, partially the team that also works on Mario Kart games also knows is currently wrapping up ARMS, which is coming out pretty soon as well. So whatever they're doing after could be a new Mario Kart or whatever like they want to do next. But honestly, it's not a pressing issue, especially since we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But I would love to see what they would do with solely having the Switch in their mind.
Yeah, I mean, so that actually brings up something I've talked about before. But before I get to that, I think there will absolutely be another Mario Kart on Switch. I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is kind of a stopgap, an amazing one. I mean, I really am having a blast with this game still. But I do think it's kind of like a stopgap until the next true Mario Kart. I don't mean that to be disparaging. You know, a next true new Mario Kart, I should say. I don't expect it for probably 3 years or so. But Don kind of hit on something that could take advantage of the Switch. And I know a lot of people are going to start rolling their eyes at me now. But this, I feel like Double Dash was custom made for the Switch. Because of the, the 2 players per kart mechanic, you can play co-op in any mode. And the Switch has 2 controllers built in. It's a co-op right there, no matter how you want to play, whether online or single player or even local multiplayer if you have multiple Switches. Like I feel like this is when Double Dash could really come back. And touching on what you said, John, I think Mario Kart is kind of due for a change. We've been playing the same basic game for quite some time now. Mario Kart Deluxe, for many people is a pinnacle of that. It has Deluxe in the name. And I think they do really need to offer something different for the next one if it's going to be on the same platform. And I think if they don't go like full-on adventure mode, I think changing up the core gameplay to something, maybe if not Double Dash in a similar style to Double Dash, like that level of difference, I think that is something they could really use. Like as another idea for a mechanic, I think they could introduce. That's not Double Dash, just to mix it up a little bit. I think it'd be cool if they added a true jump mechanic. Kind of like how in the original Mario Kart on Super Nintendo, the CPUs could jump to dodge your items. They should do that here. Mario's all about jumping, allow you to jump for shortcuts or to jump over items or dodge items. Like basically having a permanent feather item. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there's enough ways that they can change the formula within the world of Mario Kart. And they have done this before, like whatever you think of it now, like Mario Kart DS was a blueprint to the future, and Mario Kart Double Dash did some unique things since then. They've kind of stepped back in a lot of respects, and they've created a more formulaic approach to Mario Kart. So, at the very least, if they're going to do a new Mario Kart on Nintendo Switch, they need to do something that makes it stand out of its own and make it stand far away from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as possible.
What I'd love to see is just Nintendo do what they learned from Zelda and just conceive the conventions of all of their franchises. So we've reinvented Metroid and Mario Kart. Just sort of revitalize all their franchises.
I'm with you. I mean, we're already kind of seeing that, with Zelda and Mario Odyssey. Like, they're kind of going back to their roots. Zelda to the original Zelda, and Mario to Mario 60, and Mario Odyssey to Mario 64. I would kind of love to see a new level of like I would love to see them revisit all their all their existing franchises in a similar way. Mix it up, give it something new. That's a great way of appealing to typical fan, or the fans that stuck with them, and also bring back the fans that may have dropped them over the years, which is what seems to be doing to some degree, as we already talked about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so do you guys have any final thoughts at all about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe before we finish it off? Any things you wanted to bring up that we didn't touch on, or anything else?
I'm just astonished that we have this 1 month after the Switch launched. That's unprecedented for Mario Kart.
It's kind of 2 months, closer to 2 months.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're right. Like, it is kind of cool that we are getting a Mario Kart this early. I don't think we've had something like this since maybe the GBA. I think we had one in the first 6 months on the GBA, if I remember correctly.
That's correct,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's been a long time, and to have one as fleshed out as this is pretty impressive.
I still think there are lessons to be taken from it. Like I said at the beginning and throughout of it, I still think that single player seems to be less and less of a focus, and I hope really will bring it the next time around back.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I really love. I love Nintendo as a single player experiences company, and for some reason they completely stepped away from that with Mario Kart.
I mean, yeah, I kind of get it, because we are, like, Nintendo's finally fully embracing the online era. But I agree, like, it has kind of left a hole there that they could fill for their next game. Focus a little bit more on the single player side of things. Especially because if you're not good at Mario Kart, going online can be brutal. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. I have cousins who are totally not good with Mario Kart, and they're only sticking with local battles, playing against one another. And
Right.
again, the Switch is perfect for that. When you just have 2 controllers and a screen in front of you, you're all good to go. But if you want to evolve your skills beyond that, there's no really a way for you to go there.
Actually, I'm gonna go back to a point I brought up. Here's I'm gonna tie in both ideas I mentioned before. So I want a full adventure mode, and I want double dash in the next Mario Kart, because you have a co-op adventure mode. Then you're both on the same cart, driving around, having a good time in the Mushroom Kingdom.
I think we've brought up a lot of valid criticisms about Mario Kart 8 in this discussion, but I stand by my score of a 10. When it comes to pure enjoyability, this is about as good as it gets for me. Like, I'd love an adventure mode and a mission mode, and more things to do, but when it comes to pure fun, this is one of the most enjoyable games I think I've played ever.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like, I didn't give it our highest score, but I gave it still a very high score. I am having a blast with this game, which is saying something, because I spent 500 hours with the previous game, and I'm one who really appreciates novelty. I like when companies take risks, even if those risks don't always pan out. I like it when they at least try something new. However, the base game is just so darn fun here that I have not minded the fact that it really hasn't changed that much since the original game. With that said, if the next game is really just more Mario Kart 8, that might be where I start reaching my limit. And that's why hopefully they do mix up a little bit there. But yeah, I mean, for what this game offers, it's a great time, and the fact that we do have it as early as we do in the Switch's life cycle, as you mentioned, John, is pretty astounding. Because this is one of the best multiplayer games, right?
Regardless of our criticisms, we all still think it's a fantastic game, so.
Yeah. You can always improve it, but what they have is pretty darn solid. Well, I think that wraps up for us here. So, John, do you want to tell people where they can find you at?
You can find my channel at NomComms, and I'm also on Twitter at NomComms.
Perfect. Keeps it easy. And how about you, Don?
You can find me on Twitter, which is at Nintendaan, that's NINTNDAAN. You can find links to all the stuff that I do there. My YouTube channel, go Nintendo World Report, NF Magazine, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I do throughout the days and weeks ahead. So go check there.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you do, so... And of course, make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain for lots more Mario Kart Deluxe and everything else Nintendo Switch as well. Catch you guys later. Bye.